take projection.
Welcome, everybody, to Taking on Sports. I am TD. That is Greg. Greg, did you know that last week was our 100th episode?
100. Man, it's crazy. I didn't realize you've been doing it that long.
I know, right? Yeah, it kind of surprised me. I always check it. I don't really, label them because I don't name them, by episode number. I just think of whatever random name. And in the hosting platform, when I put up there, it automatically counts them. And I just kind of looked. I was like, oh, look, that's episode CN.
Wow.
Crazy. But anyway, how you been, man?
I'm good.
That's good, man.
How about you?
I'm good myself, man. Nice, good time, little Sunday here. Nice, relaxing, lazy Sunday here. So,
Nice.
yeah. Never against a nice, relaxing Sunday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did a little bit of work on the laptop, but nothing too serious to ruin my day.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, it of course was Selection Sunday today for both the men and women in the NCAA tournament. We found out our fate. Of course, Alabama is a 2 seed in the East Regional. Duke is our number 1 seed. We tip off 11:40 a.m. Central Time Friday against
early Friday. First game out the gate, I believe.
Yeah, it is against Robert Morris. Don't really know much about the college or the man it's named after, so that's about as much insight as I can give you into them. But real quick, before we get to the tournaments and all that, let's anything you want to touch on from championship week here, the Tide's performance, anything concerning or promising there, or just any games in general from any conference that stood out to you?
As far as Alabama, my main thing is, man, we need a healthy Grant Nelson. I think we'll find out tomorrow more. I guess he's going to a knee specialist, see exactly what's going on there. Obviously, that changed a little bit of the momentum yesterday, but yeah, that Florida team, they're just one of those teams, one of the few teams that I don't think we could beat.
They are really, really good, and I was questioning, talking to some friends. I'm like, are they better than Auburn? Like, or is it just a matchup thing? And
I think they're better.
Well, he made a good point to me, and they play the exact same way as we do, except they're bigger and longer than us. So yeah, they're just like you said, it's just one of those teams that, man, you just kind of hope we don't see them again because,
they outdo us at what we're good at. That's our problem.
And they
can run as much as we do. They have a bigger inside presence. Those big guys, man, they're long, and then they just, I don't know. We had a decent first half, and then that second half just got out of control quickly.
Yeah, it did. It was a little bit, I think some people were concerned at the effort. Nate Oates certainly said something about his, doing a little soul searching or whatever at that effort second half. I actually, I was actually...
I don't know if it was so much an effort.
No, I was talking with my dad actually about it, and he's like, I think if they were just tired from the night before, they got a little bit screwed in the time slot. Florida got a much longer to rest than we did. And then also just at the end of that 7-game stretch to end the regular season, these guys are probably just tired. They just need these few days, and not playing till Friday might actually be a really good thing for this team. And
absolutely,
the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, the more I agreed. Get them some rest, just physical rest, some mental, emotional rest, and start fresh.
Absolutely.
Start fresh Friday, and
yeah, absolutely. And I think getting out of the SEC will be a big a blessing in disguise because, man, it's been a gauntlet. So I think seeing somebody new, fresh faces, all good things. We did our thing Friday night. Beat Kentucky for a third straight time. When are we ever gonna say that again?
First time in Alabama school history we beat Kentucky 3 times in one season.
So
can't.
Very rare accomplishments, so we can't knock that at all. even with their injuries, I mean, we were still. I mean, we're right now just a better overall better team than them. And then we already talked about it. We ran into a buzzsaw in that second half on Saturday. Grant Nelson went down and then flagrant after that flagrant and Grant went out. We just kind of I don't know.
Yeah, that.
Florida just
Yeah.
you blinked and all of a sudden, man, we're down 15.
Man, that's really how it was, man. I like went out the room for a second to do something, and I looked up. Came back in,
Yeah,
and we were down like double digits,
yeah,
and it was like a one score game
yeah,
when I
yeah,
left the room. I'm like,
yeah,
hold the hell up, man. But yeah, then
yeah.
Oates got
It
a
was
technical at some point, and the wheels just kind of fell off. But yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I'm not too concerned about it. I've seen some people online,
no,
kind of, oh no, we got to da 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 da.
right,
Uh, who cares? I think the rest will be good. We'll come back, whoop up on Robert Morris.
yeah,
Uh, Possibly, maybe depending on maybe a tough matchup with St. Mary's in the second round.
yeah,
Um,
right. We St. Mary or Vandy.
or Vandy.
I mean, we've already beaten Vandy's, but
We had.
St. Mary's is always they're always a tough tournament team. Consistently a good team out
Yeah, and
that
they.
West Coast Conference. So I mean, we'll have our work cut out for us, but I feel like I thought we got a nice bracket. I mean, I like our chances at least get to the Elite Eight to play Duke, and then we'll go, see that. But based on how, if we're playing our game, there's no reason why we at least don't get to the Elite Eight this year.
No, I agree. I actually like. Yeah, I'm not as worried about that matchup with St. Mary's as some folks are. I know they kind of have that kind of
Hmm.
slow pace and size that can trouble us at times. But I think we can. I think we just kind of broken down those teams this year. The teams that give us fits are
Yep,
the teams that play like us and are
yep,
physical, fast. Look at Florida. Obviously, we just
yep,
talked about them. Tennessee, Auburn. Those
right.
teams,
But at
kind
the
of those
same time,
SEC
I mean,
teams.
we came back and proved we can hang with Auburn. We never should have lost to Tennessee, honestly. So I mean, that shouldn't have happened. So I mean,
Yeah,
we cooked
exactly.
our own goose
We
there.
talked about
So I
that.
mean, it's a new season. I feel much better for what it's worth. I don't know, but I feel much better going in this year than we did last year. So,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last year we were kind of
yeah,
like, oh man, I don't know how
yeah.
far we get, and we were kind of like, oh man, we get to the Sweet
The
16, we
North
play
Carolina,
UConn or
yeah.
not UConn,
Eh,
UNC,
It's
and
what it is.
yeah, and they're like, okay, cool, man, like yeah, and then we beat them, beat Clemson, make the Final Four for the first time, and yeah, so this year I'm with you. Our toughest possible road right now, obviously Robert Morris, Friday, and then Sunday would be
Right,
St. Mary's, the 7 seed, in the Sweet 16. Our 3 seeds, Wisconsin, and then you mentioned where Duke is our 1 seed. So that would be our road to
right,
the Final Four, and we're matched up with the Midwest region. Their 1 seed is Houston.
yeah.
We've had some
I
battles with
mean,
them, so we know exactly.
right.
Two programs that
Yeah,
got to know each other well over the past few seasons.
absolutely.
So
You know, yeah. I mean, Houston, first year in the first year in the Big 12 conference, and won the conference. People wondering, are they going to be able to come right in there out the American? And damn, they handle business. I mean, I mean they didn't lose a step there, and honestly, probably make a Final Four last year without the injury to the guard. Um,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Kelvin Sampson, definitely one of the best coaches out there, and yeah. So I mean, and of course we talked about Florida. I mean, probably playing the best basketball right now in America going into the tournament. I mean, the way they ended the season.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
yeah,
they
I
blew
agree.
us out. I mean, they,
Yeah,
went in and won at the first team to go in and win at Auburn, and then they beat us twice in the 10-day period, more or less. Beat Tennessee. I mean, they look good doing it. They really didn't have many struggles along the way, and man, I would have them as my favorite to win the
no,
championship
yeah.
as of right now. Of course, I mean March happens and things change quickly, but right now going into the tournament, they seem to be on a different level than everybody else.
No, yeah, I agree. They're playing the best basketball right now. They're so
Right.
deep. They run like a 10-man rotation out there.
Hmm.
It's crazy. Like you said, went into Auburn, won there, beat us twice, beat Tennessee in the tournament final and really didn't.
Yeah.
You know, it was a 9-point
Kept
victory
it.
at Tennessee. You know, it was
Yeah, exactly.
never really a thought that you're
Correct.
oh,
No,
okay,
that
it's
didn't
gonna,
happen.
yeah.
I mean, they handled Missouri pretty easily on Friday night. So I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. And then other national things, of course. So everybody was talking about Cooper Flag's injury there. I mean, still Duke won the ACC, so I mean that's big for them. Beat Carolina for a third time. Very rarely Duke and Carolina, when a team sweeps every game like that. I think it has been quite some time since that's happened. So that's huge in that rivalry there. And of course, looks like he'll be back. Um, and Iowa State lost their guard for the tournament. Keyshawn Gilbert, forward out. Averaged about 13.4 a game, and he's out for the tournament. So that's tough for the Cyclones going in. But I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting field there. Some
Well, yeah. Let's stick with that.
mhm,
Let's go.
yeah,
These regions here. Stick with the South region there. First round game that really jumps out to me is Louisville and
absolutely
Creighton. I think that could be a really good game. A little surprised
right.
Louisville was an 8
Yeah, that
seed,
is kind of
honestly.
tough. But they got a
They're,
great place for them to
they
play,
made it.
though. I mean, playing in
Yeah.
Lexington, so they're gonna have quite the home field advantage.
Yeah,
If I'm
exactly.
Auburn, I'm a
Yeah.
little pissed off that I'm playing
Well,
Louisville. I'm the overall number 1 seed, and it's
I
really gonna
about
be
to
a
say,
road
yeah.
game.
That said, though, there will definitely be
Absolutely,
plenty of Louisville fans that make it's like a 50-minute trip, between the two cities. But I do not put it past a bunch of Kentucky fans too to fill that
oh,
place
absolutely,
just so they can root against Louisville.
oh yeah,
That is a type of rivalry it is there. Living up there for a
absolutely.
year and living in that rivalry. That's very much
Oh no,
no love lost
absolutely.
between those two teams. But yeah, that's fun. Another weird one in the South region, seeding wise, Michigan. Big Ten
Yeah,
tournament
5 seed.
champs, a 5 seed.
Considering that Wisconsin's a 3 seed and they beat them
Ag-
twice, including today. Ooh,
Exactly, yeah. That's it really puzzled me there. And they go
that's
up
a
against
tough
UC
game.
San Diego, a first-time tournament team who's only moved up
That's
to
a
Division
that's
One
a
a
tough.
couple seasons ago. And
I think that's a tough game right there. Yikes.
yeah, someone on the bracket, the Selection Sunday show, I forget which analyst it was, but he actually predicted a San Diego
Hmm.
upset, and as well as a Yale upset
Yeah,
over
I
A
saw
and
that.
M. Yale second straight bid for them, first time in a
Hmm.
while for that program, and they get another shot to upset another SEC team. Of
Hmm.
course, took out Auburn in the first round last
Yeah,
year. They get Texas
that's
A&M this
interesting.
year. Auburn, of course, they're the overall 1 seed. They'll play the winner of what is it, Alabama
Yeah,
State and St. Francis
that
for that
is.
play-in.
I will say, sorry, real
They're
quick.
two
That is
seed in
one
that.
thing that
Okay,
really
go ahead.
irritates me is conference champions should not be playing in the playing game. I wish they would find a way to fix that.
Absolutely
No
agreed. Yeah.
16 seed. Man, if you've won your conference, let them let them play on Thursday or Friday. They do not need to be playing in Dayton. I don't like that at all.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that should be for
Absolutely.
all these bubble teams. This really should be
Yeah,
your last 8 teams to get in. Should be
absolutely.
the first 4 games. Uh, if they're struggling so much, let them play. Of course, the big conference
Yeah,
commissioners. I'm sure
right.
they have their say in that. But yeah, that's bullshit that Alabama State or St. Francis or
Yeah.
American or
They
Mount St.
won.
Mary's really
Yeah.
won't get
Someone's not going to
a,
get a
tr-
tournament
a
game.
true tournament game. And like you said, yeah, and they all
Exactly.
earn their way in. Whereas you got South Carolina's in one of these play-in games, and they're
Yeah,
maybe
North
the most
Carolina. Yeah,
controversial pick.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the type of team that should be
Yeah,
in that
for sure.
game. The other one, they're playing San Diego State. The other one is
Both
Texas Xavier.
questionable.
Texas had to, you know, Yeah, both questionable. Texas had to get
Yeah.
a couple wins there in this weekend in Nashville to get in. Xavier was,
'Cause,
yeah, another of the
Texas,
last
they
four in.
handle
So
business. So,
uh,
that double overtime win over A&M, I mean, that kind of
they
put them
did,
over the
yeah.
top. So that was big for them.
Yeah, that sealed them. Yeah, so yeah, the SEC did indeed get
14, new
14
record.
bids.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And I
crazy.
mean,
Yeah, new
and that's
record beats the old Big East
that's the
record by
big thing right
three.
now is, everybody's going to look at that and, man, I just hope that, at least to the first weekend, the SEC performs and we'll never hear the end of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ooh, uh, yeah. What would you say the minimum teams that got to make it to the Sweet 16 for
you
people
know, I don't
to
know.
not bitch too much?
Yeah.
Do you got to have like
You
you
at
got to have
least
at
got to
least
have
four, right? You got
four.
to have at
At
least
least
quarter of it.
four. I mean, people are
Yeah.
probably looking for more, honestly. But
Well, let's look at all these SEC matchups
uh,
too. Let's just to start the first round. So Auburn's
yeah.
obviously playing the 16. A&M's playing Yale. Ole Miss gets the winner of the San Diego
Hmm.
State UNC game. Let's see where else. Florida's
Yeah.
the one seed in the West, obviously. Oklahoma is the 9 seed there. Missouri is the 6 seed in that region.
Hmm.
Arkansas is the 10 seed. In the Midwest, you got Georgia as a 9 seed. Kentucky, 3 seed. Tennessee,
Yeah.
your 2 seed. We mentioned Texas in that playing game too. They would play
Yeah.
Illinois, the 6 seed, if they didn't. And of course, our bracket. We mentioned we're the 2 seed, Vandy the 10 seed, and then
Right.
Mississippi State is also the
We
eight
got
seed.
Arkansas playing Kansas.
So
That's tough. Missouri Drake.
yeah, it's a tough matchup there. Missouri
Yeah.
Drake. Drake's a tricky team. But I figure of those 14 teams, so obviously if you're trying to justify it for the SEC, or how
I
many
mean,
are lower
OU's the lower
seeds, it would
seed at the
be
9 against Connect UConn. Um,
yeah, yeah.
all right.
Texas would be against Illinois. Vandy
Arkansas's
is against
uh,
St.
lower seed
Mary's.
against Arkansas
Low seed
against
against
Kansas.
Kansas. I would say for sure that the higher
Yeah.
seeds absolutely
Can't
have to
have any of
win.
that. Yeah.
No upsets. Yeah,
Absolutely.
uh,
Um,
but honestly, looking at some of the matchups, though, I don't. Yale's tricky.
yeah, Yale is kind of a tricky team. I mean,
And they
I
beat
I
it.
wouldn't be shocked if they beat
Yeah.
A&M. I mean, I might, in some bracket, I'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely probably have that as one of my upsets. Because I mean, the Aggies are a weird team. I mean, when they're on, but we've seen them play some ugly games as well. Um, I mean, and, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the thing, those games. It's when you're the higher seed, you're the from a major conference. It's a lose-lose situation. You lose that game, everybody's just ha ha. You win, dude. You're supposed to win. It's kind of a lose-lose situation. But I'll probably say that's one of the trickiest of the higher seeds out the SEC. Either that or Missouri playing Drake in the first round.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. And then I think too, Ole Miss getting that play-in winner of San Diego
That
State,
is
North
kind of
Carolina, that
tricky
could
as
be a
well.
little. Yeah, because you never know those playing teams. There's always one that
Always.
makes it to the
Oh
second
man,
weekend,
always someone always makes a run out of
and
that plan.
those are two teams that recently both
Yeah.
been Final Four participants. UNC, they might be playing for their
He
coach's
did get that
job. Who knows?
extension to like 30 or something.
He
Yeah,
did. He
he
did
has like
official.
29 or
Okay.
30,
Yeah.
but
Well,
that can change
there you go. There.
at any time there, of course.
Well, there you
They
go.
had a nice comeback against Duke and then the lane violation at the end. That was pretty funny, but I don't that's a
Yeah, that is
yeah,
a
it is.
tough, tough way to lose a
But
game.
that's an interesting game. I could see either one of those teams could win. Um, Now that's one. I don't know who's going to win that matchup in Dayton. I mean, you can make an argument for either one, and then either could be Ole Miss, but Ole Miss could also beat them. It's one of those toss-up games. It's a tricky one
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, no. But yeah, so that's I think yeah, if you're the SEC, you definitely don't want any upsets, and then you probably would want at least one of your teams to pull an
Yeah,
upset to
all
kind
the
of
bids.
justify all these bids. And then obviously you gotta have some teams, especially the higher. You gotta have Auburn, Florida, Alabama,
Yeah,
Tennessee. We
everybody's
got to
got to
go
make the
far.
second weekend.
Uh, need a yeah, everybody's got to make second weekend. At least one of these teams has got to make a
Yeah,
Final Four, if not two. Yeah, got to make, and you gotta have multiple teams in
absolutely.
the Elite Eight for sure. I think, and then people wouldn't have much to say. But going back looking at these brackets that that South region Auburn's in, I think it's pretty. It's a bracket that an overall number one seed
No,
deserves. It's not the toughest. They didn't get screwed really. There's some interesting matchups, but I would probably
yeah.
favor them in every game. And there's not a team in that bracket that sticks out to me. It's
That's a
like, oh
tricky
man,
one.
that's a
I think the
yeah, it's a
most
tricky
tricky
one. I will
thing is
say,
if they played
go ahead.
Louisville and in the state of Kentucky. Um, I think
Yeah,
that's just tricky, and
yeah,
that there's going to be a lot of Louisville fans, and it may very well could be Kentucky fans that go into troll, being able to sit in Lexington or Rupp. But that'd be interesting to see what that dynamic looks like in that matchup. Yeah, but
is
honestly,
well actually is Kentucky
no,
also
I don't
playing
think
in
so.
Lexington or no?
I
Where are
don't
they
think they
playing?
do. Yeah.
Nah, they're in
So,
Milwaukee. Okay, I was about
oh
to say
wow,
if
that'd
they
be
were in
wild.
that, I was about to
Yeah,
say,
that'd be
oh
wild.
no, yeah, then
But I'm almost looking like, I'm thinking Auburn and Michigan State probably playing each other in the Elite Eight for a chance of the Final Four.
yeah,
Oh,
and that's a
absolutely.
matchup I want to see. Kind of a reinvigorated
Yeah,
Spartan program. Tom Izzo,
yeah.
longtime friend of Nick Saban too. A little connection there to Auburn there. I think
Oh,
that'd be an
yeah,
interesting matchup too with Broome versus those
yeah.
state inside guys. The West region got Florida's your number one seed there. St. John's your number
Hmm.
two seed. Big East champs. Speaking of
Man,
comeback, Rick
that
Pitino.
dude, he wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
I mean, he might have some off the
yeah,
court stuff that comes up at different spots, but man, he wins. He knows how to put a team together.
yeah.
That was a quick turnaround. I mean, this is
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. He is a program builder. It's what he
yeah,
does. It's what he's always done in his career. From
yeah.
Providence to Kentucky to
Hmm.
Louisville. He takes programs that are either in slumps or never have been much, and he
Absolutely.
turns them up, man. And they got Texas Tech as a 3 seed there. Maryland as a 4 seed. Tell you what, the team that sticks out to me is tricky to them. This
Yeah,
5 seed,
Memphis is good.
Memphis.
They are a good team.
Double American champs the
Yeah.
regular season and won the tournament today over
Pretty good game.
UAB.
I was hoping UAB could have won so they could have got in, but
Yeah, me too. I was rooting for the local team here that would give the state of Alabama, I think, 4 bids too. Yeah, Auburn,
Troy.
Alabama, and
And
Alabama
Troy.
State are in
Yeah.
right now. Oh, we already have 4. That's right. Troy's
Yeah.
in. Yeah, so that would have given them 5. And then
But
someone else early in the week had a chance too and
yeah, it
couldn't win
was
their
yeah,
South Alabama. Yeah,
yeah.
they would have had to go through Troy anyway, same conference. But uh, yeah, I think that's if there's a team in that bracket to give Florida trouble,
I think
I think
Florida
that would be
actually
my
has a pretty
pick.
tough bracket.
And
I mean they could the
yeah,
Memphis, Maryland has been playing good ball. Probably should have beat Michigan yesterday, but they've been playing really really well. And then it's Saint Texas Tech is tough. St. John's is tough. They have an interesting matchup in that 32 on that bottom side. You either have Rick Pitino going up either against Bill Self or John Calipari in the second round. That's classic coaching right there.
that is that is a good point. This is the bracket of
Yeah.
some really good coaches. You got Patino, Self, Coach Cal, uh, Penny
Yeah,
there at Memphis, Dan Hurley at Oklahoma. There's some
absolutely.
really good coaches in this bracket.
The West bracket is tough.
No,
I
I
think
agree.
that's a tough bracket.
Yeah, that. Yeah, I think I'd really like to see another
Oh,
Patino
absolutely.
and Coach Cal matchup. So yeah, maybe
Yeah.
hoping Arkansas gets that. Over, let's see, let's move to the Midwest. You got Houston, the 1 seed there, and they are the last, I think, of the 1 seeds. Are they the fourth
Yeah.
ranked, or is it Florida? I'm not sure, but I think of the 1 seeds, Houston to me on first glance has the toughest bracket. Their 2 seeds Tennessee, their 3 seeds Kentucky, 4 seeds Purdue, 5 seeds Clemson.
Yeah.
Their second round game is going to be the winner of the 8-9, which is Gonzaga and Georgia.
Yeah.
Those are
It
two
can be.
tricky teams too, right there. Gonzaga always,
Hmm.
a little down year for
Yes.
them by their standards, but that's always a team
Yeah.
in March that scares you.
Yeah.
Georgia's kind of hot right now. They really
Right.
won a few games down the stretch to
Yeah.
get
Last team to
punch
beat
their
Florida.
ticket. I think Clemson's, yeah, exactly. I think Clemson's a kind of an
they
underrated team this year. They
they're
are,
playing really good
uh,
ball, and they got absolutely screwed on on the in the ACC semifinal. If you watch that game against Louisville in their last shot when dude drove the lane and got his head knocked off, and nobody called the foul. Oh wow!
yeah, it's,
But yeah,
oof.
Clemson's playing really good ball. I mean, they one of the few teams to beat Duke this year. You know, and really, I think one of the only. I think they're right there as far as the ACC is really down, but they're one of the bright spots of the conference. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, only,
could be a very interesting Sweet
o-
16
o-
matchup.
yeah, only 4 bids for the
Thanks.
ACC this year. Their
Yeah,
lowest in quite some time. Which is Duke, North
Clemson and
Carolina,
Louisville.
Clemson, as we just mentioned,
Yeah,
and Louisville. That's right. Yeah, I was about to say Maryland
yeah,
because
it
it
feels
feels
right. It
right, and
should have never
it should be
happened.
that
But
way.
yeah,
But yeah, but yeah, I think that's a tough bracket. You got some tricky.
hmm
We mentioned Tennessee's your 2 seed, so that possible
no,
Elite Eight
yeah,
matchups against a really tough team. Kentucky's there, so much talent there.
Who-
Teams like Troy, they're kind of. There's no huge Cinderellas that stick out to me right now. We did mention this is the bracket where that play in between Texas
they
and
play
Xavier is.
Illinois.
So remember, yeah, Illinois. Always beware again. Always beware of one of
Yeah,
those first
they
four
do.
teams. They
And
like to make
Illinois, I'm
runs.
not buying in on them at all.
Yeah.
They struggled down the stretch, been blown
No.
out quite
Yeah.
a few times recently. And anytime I've ever
Yeah.
been high on Illinois in recent years in the tournament is when they really underperformed at the tournament. But
Just kind of, yeah, underperform me. Yeah. All right, then let's move back to the East. Alabama's region, of course, like
mhm.
we said, Duke the 1 seed there, Bama 2 seed, Wisconsin the 3, Arizona the 4, Oregon the 5. We got BYU as the 6. That'd be a tricky Sweet 16 matchup for the Tide too. I think
And then
BYU's
the BYU Wisconsin
a
winner,
good
yeah,
team,
that's
tough
tough.
team. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But they also, hey,
Yeah,
BYU's got to play
and
VCU,
Wisconsin
noted
playing a good Grizz team.
experience into Wisconsin gets
Grizz are good. I
Montana.
watched their championship
Yeah,
game. That was
uh,
a fun one. It didn't go off till like 12:30 at night, but
yeah.
oh, well, yeah. This is the time of the
Oh, hey,
year.
man, this is yeah,
You
this
wake
is the
up the
best thing
ball, go to
about.
sleep the ball,
I will say
more or
that
less.
yeah, if you really just love watching random
This is your time of year.
conference title games, man, get you ESPN Plus at least for the month because all those they have most of those conference title games. You can stream them. I got Hulu Live, so you
Yeah,
can even do it through that app. So I can just find
yeah,
even the ones that ESPN doesn't have. So there was. Yeah, I watched a lot of random conference
absolutely.
title games this week. Same thing as you late at night too. Just like, oh,
That's
whoa, this
why.
is for a
Yeah,
bid. Yeah, let's. Sure, I'll watch. I'll watch Lipscomb
absolutely,
and whoever.
absolutely. I love to watch little guys
But
win
yeah,
the
the one
tournaments.
thing, yeah, the top side of this bracket, Duke side, Duke plays the winner of the American and Mount St. Mary's playing game. Then they're 8-9, like we said. Mississippi State and Baylor, that's a good game. Oregon plays
Watch out.
Liberty. Liberty, Conference USA champs, and yeah, another. They beat another team. Yeah, they beat Jacksonville State. That's
Yeah.
another team from the state of Alabama that had a shot. Then Arizona and
Interesting.
Akron. There's another.
Zips.
I think maybe
This
this bracket probably has the most
yeah.
interesting first round games to
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. Absolutely.
You
I
know,
mean,
outside of the one in yeah, outside of the
I
Duke and
think
Alabama,
everybody
you know, I
has a,
think they're pretty. Both of them should roll
everybody
pretty
else has
easily.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
everybody
I
else is
know. Are
tough.
you like, yeah, that's guaranteed? No,
Yeah.
you're really not. I mean, Vanderbilt, St. Mary's toss up, Wisconsin, Montana. I mean, you think Wisconsin, but man, Montana. I mean, been playing good. BYU, VCU is a tricky one. Arizona, Akron. Yeah, Oregon, Liver. I mean, yeah, definitely. Mississippi State, Baylor. I mean, that's. I mean, that might be a pick'em game by the time we get to it.
Yeah, yeah. There's all fun matchups.
Yeah.
They're all very interesting. And then even beyond the first round, trying to see if they had a line on this Baylor game yet. Not yet that I see. Okay.
Yeah, Mississippi State at 1.5.
Even beyond the first weekend, you get these matchups that I could see a team like Oregon giving Duke some
Yeah,
trouble. Oregon's a
they
great
always
defensive
have those
team.
athletic guys, long guys. Um,
Yeah, long athletic guys.
yeah,
They switch defenses
the
a
well
lot, so
coach
they're very well coached. Who's it out there? What's his
Dana
face?
Altman. Yeah,
Dana Altman, right? Yeah, yeah. Going down, we mentioned a team like hell St. Mary's in the second
yeah,
round could be a tricky matchup for the Tide. BYU could be a kind of them, or we mentioned teams like VCU, Montana, Liberty.
right.
Those are kind of bracket buster teams that could make a little run. So
It's a
yeah, it's a
sneaky. It's
very
a sneaky.
intriguing
I
region.
mean, it doesn't maybe not on paper, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you watch, and that's a risk. That's the one risky thing of really watching these conference tournaments is you can be high on a team going in, and then this
Yeah.
past week they look so good, and then they look so different next week. I remember last year, I fell into that trap with New Mexico. I was so high on them last year. They had Toppin and Jamal Mashburn Jr. and they really ran through the Mountain West, and then Clemson just crashed them in that first round. But I mean, but a little. I mean, I don't think anybody really had Clemson going as far as they did. So I mean, it was. See, I was kind of shocked, but
No, yeah,
Clemson,
sure, yeah.
really a kind of a team that really doesn't get a lot of hype, But I mean, they're
But they've been like
absolutely,
a consistent
yeah,
top 10 team all year. Like you said, they beat Duke. I think, yeah, Clemson, they're going to be one of those teams that when I sit down to fill out my
yeah,
bracket, they are really going to, I'm really going to have to consider them pulling the upset over Houston. I mean, they
yeah,
knocked out Arizona last year. And Arizona was
yeah.
my
They
pick
were,
for champ
yeah,
and a lot of people's pick for champ. Yeah,
hmm
2 seed in that region with us. But yeah, I think this
a
first
lot of
weekend's going
good
to be a
games,
lot of fun.
a
I
lot
think
of
there are a
good
lot
games.
of great matchups. You mentioned like looking ahead to second round. You mentioned like that possible Patino and Coach Cowher union. You got like we said, Auburn could face Louisville in the state
It's
of Kentucky.
interesting.
That could trip them up there.
You know,
You got possible. Let's see. I'm trying to look at some other ones on here. I think that Maryland
that
Memphis
could be
4-5 game,
that
if
could be
they
a
matched
lot of
up, that
fun.
could be really good. And at the same time, those are two teams. Colorado State out the Mountain West, they're a good team. That 12 seed against Memphis
Yeah,
and
Graham
Grand
King.
Canyon.
They gave us quite
We
this
know all
year
about
last
them.
year at 32. Well coached
Yeah,
with,
they pulled a
yeah,
first round upset themselves
they're
last
well
year. So
coached
yeah,
with Bryce Drew's team. Yeah, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that Clemson and Purdue possible game in the
I've had
Midwest
a
region at
lot
four or
of
five is a
great
good one.
second round matchups.
Yeah. I mentioned that Houston, their game, possible Gonzaga and
Could be
Georgia in that
tricky. Could be
8-9
tricky.
game. Those are two of, yeah, Florida could have to go through either conference opponent Oklahoma, which Oklahoma's not the toughest team to come out of the SEC. Definitely got in with skin in their teeth, and
Yeah.
Florida just beat them right in the
Kentucky beat him
Kentucky
on the buzzer beater.
in the
Yeah.
SEC, right? That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Again. Yeah. Poor.
Yeah.
He did it to him
The
again
transfer.
twice this year. The
The
Oweh
transfer
has.
from
Yeah.
OU
After crazy. That's
storyline
something. Yeah, I
and
forgot to
stuff.
put in my notes, but I was talking that ending of that game. What
Yeah.
was that Thursday night? The ending of that game was absolutely insane. If y'all missed it, Kentucky was pretty solid. Their lead fluctuated between
It
like
seems
5 and
like
10
it's really
points for like the
over.
last.
You're starting to doze off a little bit. It's getting late, and then you're like, "Wait a minute!
Yeah,
Oh, you turn." Then there was turnover. Oh,
and
you
then
scores 3-3. It's like, oh my god.
well, yeah, and then so it was a
Yeah,
6 point lead with under a minute to go.
yeah,
Oklahoma gets a 3-pointer.
yeah,
Then they get a turnover and an easy layup.
mhm,
All right, so it's down.
yeah,
Then they get another turnover, get down of court, score again, and then they get a third straight steal. Get they reset it, makes a drive, scores the go-ahead
5 seconds.
basket with 5.5 seconds, and then Kentucky no timeouts. Oweh takes it just straight down the floor. There's pretty solid defense. I
He hit
thought
that
they could
corner.
have
He
once
went around the
he
corner.
went.
That was
Yeah, they let him get that corner, and he almost, if I thought if that second defender that was helping him over there could have been a
yeah,
little quicker, they could have got him trapped in that corner and had him to
yeah.
force just a
But
really off
he,
balance three from the corner. But he turned that
that
corner,
was it.
and no one was stopping
Crazy
him.
ending. And then that
And that got me
right.
a little worried for Friday because I was like, oh no,
Yeah,
Kentucky's got
and they
SEC
got their
tournament
crowd,
magic
and
going.
they're they
And
take
if
over everywhere they go,
yeah.
and
And if if you're an SEC fan, you know that Kentucky in the
yeah,
SEC tournament is a different animal. It doesn't matter the year. I was looking at
dude,
the history of the winners in that
they
tournament.
won, they
They
won,
won. There was a period, I think
and
they
it
won like
wasn't it
10
wasn't
of
even
12 years. They
games.
just
I
always
mean,
win.
they were just housing people,
No, yeah.
and like they were talking, they were talking about Darren Oak, and they were talking about one night, the Kentucky fans that go to the SEC tournament are a different breed because it's not your old people that go into Rupp Arena. These are people that save their 1 week of the year and go to the SEC tournament. So I mean, they're a louder, crazier breed of fan. So it's a different breed
Yeah,
than the
they show
guys that
up.
go to Lexington.
And they're going to have yeah, and and if not familiar with the geography of the area, Nashville is the
Yeah,
minutes away from the
yeah.
Kentucky border.
So
Really, it's not a trip. It's the last
right.
big city you hit on 65
Mm-hmm.
north, going up there. So it's an
Oh
easy
yeah,
place to get to for
and
Kentucky
they're gonna show
fans.
up.
It's going to be in Nashville for the
And
next few
every day,
years too. So
Pope keeps building that
uh,
program up back to what. And
yeah,
because that's the
yeah,
one thing that I think Kentucky was pissed off at Cal. He never really cared about the SEC tournament, and that fan base loves the SEC tournament, and that kind of frustrated them.
yeah. If there's a
Other than
trophy, they
national
want to
title,
win it.
that
Yeah,
SEC title means a lot to them. A tournament. And so I think that, one
yeah,
of the things they really disliked about Cal, and, Pope, having played there, grew up in the culture, he knows how much that means. So, I think that there's a different resurgence when it comes to the SEC tournament. And if he keeps, building that program to more of the, Kentucky pride type thing, more than, maybe not always the one and done types. I mean, yeah, I think he's going to have a
yeah.
great tenure in Lexington. But
Yeah, absolutely. I
yeah,
think they got themselves a good hire there. I know there's a lot of Kentucky fans that wanted Bruce Pearl, and he was kind of even some people thought he was kind of not begging for the job. I'll say, but he's
I
kind of
think they got the
campaigning
right
for it.
guy. They got the
I
right
think
guy.
they got the I think they got the right. Yeah, yeah. Pearl's one of those guys. He's a great coach. No one's going to deny that, but he has a certain personality
Mhm.
that fits certain places, and I think a place like Auburn is where he fits.
And I don't think they
He's
wanted to
done
go
well there. But
controversial back to back because Cal has his controversy, Bruce has had his controversies.
exactly, yeah,
You don't do
exactly.
that back to back.
No, yeah, you go the young
The
guy
clean
route. You try to hire, which
right.
again, hasn't always
Oh,
worked for them.
horrible.
Remember, Billy
Yikes.
Gillespie there after his
Yeah.
great tenure at Texas A&M, and they made that hire, and I think everybody and their mama said, "Oh,
And
that's
it
a
was
home run hire. That's
horrible.
great for Kentucky." And then
Horrendous. They were in the
it was
CIT one year.
just did not work.
It
Just
wasn't even the NIT, I don't believe. It was bad.
yeah, yeah, it was a terrible tenure.
Yeah.
And then of course,
Yeah.
probably Coach
Yeah.
Cal away from Memphis to save
Yeah.
him. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be
Absolutely.
a fun tournament first weekend. Anything else? Let's see from any for the bracket stuff before we go to the
Um,
women's side of things, or anything else from championship week you want
just
to talk
I
about real
thought
quick?
a very fun championship. SEC wise,
Yeah.
never have I seen been SEC tournament for most of my life, big SEC. And man, just how competitive the Wednesday and Thursday games were. I mean, that's a different, those games usually
Oh
trash.
yeah. Oh
Someone's
man.
getting, and this year it was playing for bids. So, I mean, we got great games. When we got the OU and OU Georgia to
Yeah.
start off, that's just a great game. You get your Texas Vanderbilt. I mean, that's a great game. I mean, just how much bigger those games were this year than ever before on the Wednesday and Thursday. Just one.
Thursday you had the
Yeah.
Oway buzzer beater against Oklahoma. You had Ole Miss's buzzer
Yeah.
beater to win their game against
Arkansas.
who the hell were they playing? Arkansas. That's it. And then of course you
Double
had the Texas
overtime.
and then A&M double overtime game. Thursday was just a hell of
Absolutely. And it's
a
just
day of
crazy.
games.
Just the Aggies,
And
they
then
can't beat
even
Texas at anything, can they? Yeah. Some
oh man, yeah, oh man,
just
it's yeah,
no.
nothing's going right for them. Not football, not basketball.
Yeah.
Lose their baseball coach to them. Oh man, it's and then a rough
Yeah.
opening weekend for
Yeah.
them in SEC play, which we'll touch on a little bit later, and then baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move to the women's side of things real quick. Of course, they had that odd period, where they play most of their conference
Right.
titles last week. There was a couple of games this past Monday, like Big East Championship game and all that, but they wait
And
to do their selection show until this week too. But so weird. We'll start number ones. Of course, UCLA is your number one overall. Your other one seed, South Carolina,
yeah.
Texas, and USC. So you got two
Big Ten.
SEC teams and
So
two
weird.
Big Ten teams. It does not feel right to say that, but yeah. As for our ladies, the Crimson Tide, 5 seed in the Regional 2, which is one of the Birmingham
Man,
ones.
that'd
So
be
hey,
great.
if they can make that
They're gonna have a
second
tough
weekend,
matchup that second
of
game
course.
against probably
I bet
Maryland.
say the the yeah they're yeah in that regional right
Uh-huh.
there is South Carolina as a 1 seed. That's tough there. Duke the 2 seed, UNC the 3 seed, and Maryland the 4 seed. You mentioned tough matchup there. Of course, obviously, if we did make it out of the first weekend, we'd have to probably play South Carolina. So,
But
oof,
hey, it just be getting there.
the
This
Gamecocks looking for their
it's just
third
getting to
title
that
in 4
second.
years.
This year, it's just about getting to that second
Exactly.
weekend. We've talked about it. If we can get there, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Avoid the upset. Disappointing
yeah, yeah.
championship as we talked about, and first losing their first game in the SEC tournament. But hey, they've had time to rest, get back focused. They play Green Bay.
Have
They
to win that
start
game.
their road, just a possible their road to the final 4 would be Green Bay, Maryland, South
Jesus.
Carolina, Duke, and then Texas would be the 1 seed they're matched up with in the
Absolute
other
downward.
Birmingham regional. So if the Tide is to make a run, it will have been well earned. But like we said, hey, baby
Yeah.
steps. Let's get to that second weekend. Let's see, like we mentioned, South Carolina Texas is the other
Yeah.
1 seed in the Birmingham regionals. Their 2 seed is TCU. Their 3 seeds Notre Dame, a team who's talented.
Yeah, they did.
Spent a lot of this year as number one,
Fell
but
off.
kind of not falling
Also,
apart
some
down the
good. I think it was
stretch, but
good
a
teams
couple
though.
of
I mean, they
losses
didn't
down the
lose the
stretch.
bums.
Yeah, no, yeah, but just
No,
but they're a team to
absolutely.
watch out as a 3 seed. That's a dangerous team that could make some runs. Your Ohio
I
State is
think
your 4 seed in
honestly,
that
Texas
regional,
has a
and
tough bracket.
5.
My goodness.
No, it is, and Tennessee's their 5 seed there. They'll play their 8-9 game is Illinois and Creighton.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 solid programs there. They have who is there? They're playing the winner of a play-in game between
Now,
High
what could be
Point
a
and
very
Wayne and Mary.
interesting game out of that region. If you look, TCU Louisville, possible 32 matchup. Haley Van Lith started her career at Louisville. Very interesting.
And now with TCU, that's a good one there. And then you could have a possible ACC matchup in Notre Dame and Louisville if Louisville pulls the upset in the second round. You got Tennessee, the Lady Vols. They're looking for their first
Jeez,
title
been a
since
long time.
2008. Yeah, 2008.
No, they're done.
Speaking of teams, let's move to another regional, one of the Spokane regionals. You got UConn as a 2 seed, Big East champs, undefeated Big East season. Paige Becker's there. They're looking for their first title since 2016.
And they've been
themselves. It's been
I mean, they've been to
almost a
quite a few
decade for the
Final Fours.
Huskies.
They have come up short a couple of times. But,
Yeah, they haven't put it over, but they're regional. They get USC as the 1 seed.
Oh
That
my
would be
gosh.
an absolutely outstanding 1 versus 2 Elite 8 matchup. Yeah. Don't normally root for chalk
That's
there, but
one I
I
think
think that
everybody
is
will want to
one.
see. Becker versus Juju Watkins.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And a couple of another interesting ones in that. Oklahoma's a 3 seed there. Oklahoma State's a 7 seed. So if there's, granted, Oklahoma State would have to knock off UConn to do it, but there's a possible Bedlam
that would be
matchup in the
something.
Sweet 16 there. Yeah. Let's see. In the other region, we mentioned UCLA, your number 1 overall seed. They have played great. They get NC State as their 2 seed. That's a tough 2 seed. They get LSU as their
NC
3
State
seed.
Sweet 16 matchup. That could be nice. That'd be
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a big one there. Baylor's a 4 seed in that regional. Another good program there. Yeah, I think there's some good intriguing matchups too in the women's side of things. But yeah, I think those the thing with the women's game is that so much of the talent is the elite talent's concentrated to fewer schools and in the men's game that you really kind of want to see chalk in the later rounds.
But, but the women's game has gotten a lot more diversified as far as good teams. So, it used to be 3 or 4, and now it's like, good 10, 12 teams that really are, that next level. So, yeah, definitely not as many upsets, but the later rounds, you have some very intriguing ones for sure. We get, chalk or close to it for, a Final Four. I don't think anybody's going to be upset there.
No, yeah, absolutely not. Like we mentioned, look at the possible 1-2 matchups in the Elite 8 if it went all chalk. You'd get UCLA and NC State. That's a great one. We mentioned USC and UConn. Yeah, sign me up. You had Texas and TCU. Hey, an old rivalry right there. And then you would have South Carolina and Duke. Much improved Duke women's team too.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Speaking of Duke, there's a possible 2-3 matchup between Duke and UNC in the Sweet 16 there.
So some very intriguing games on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so yeah, don't sleep in the women's tournament as always. All right, let's move on. Let's other Bama sports real quick. We do our little checks in. Baseball season openings or SEC season opening sweep at A&M in College Station.
Yeah,
completed the sweep this afternoon.
Huge way to start.
Something special might be brewing there on the Diamond.
Very rarely do we We're famous for losing Friday, Saturday, and pulling a Sunday, but I was excited we won Friday because very rarely do we win a ranked matchup on the Friday night. So that was huge.
Yeah, and it has been kind of the mo of this Alabama program for the past several years to have a good
Yeah,
non-conference slate and come out of
yeah,
there like like this year, 16 and
looking good, and
1,
then
15 and 2, something.
boom.
Yeah, and then not win a series in the SEC until May or something.
That was huge.
So for them to them to not only win the series but come out and sweep A&M,
Um,
like you said, a ranked team, it's looking good. Yeah. Softball, and then they paired that too with a midweek win over
great
UAB.
week for the
So
Tide. Yeah, awesome.
20
That's
and 1
awesome.
start to the season for the
Women,
Tide.
yeah, it's tough.
Over on the softball side of things, yeah, did beat South Alabama midweek. Split a doubleheader on Friday with State. Then lost today though, so they
Yeah,
dropped
it's
their
not
opening series.
not what you wanted to. Because State
Not
might be
great,
the worst team we'll see all
no, but
season.
yeah, it's one of those. This is not. They have not gotten their softball program on the level of their baseball program yet. This is not a
No,
program that is consistently good and with a World
right.
Series title a couple of years ago like the men's team is. But
Still a
we'll
young
see.
season.
Hey, yeah, still a young season. Line
Yeah,
up and go again
absolutely.
next weekend. I don't have schedules in front of me, so I'm not sure who we play. But moving on again. Let's see. That was just our checkup there.
Oh,
NFL all
this
season. It's been busy, man.
has it.
It's been busy.
It's been
Let's
one.
just real quick. Let's running down some of the bigger signings this week. DeAndre Hopkins is now a Baltimore Raven. I love it. It's a 1 year, $5 million
Not,
contract. So if
yeah, it's not
he
too.
turns out
It's
to
not
be
much
washed,
lost.
and then whatever you spend, yeah, you spend $5 million, which is nothing in terms of
Right.
salary cap in
Best.
NFL, and yeah, worst case scenario, he doesn't have it on the field, but maybe he can help mentor some of these younger receivers and give them some pointers. And best case scenario, you look, we know we're not getting prime DeAndre Hopkins here, but best case scenario, he is a great third, maybe even second receiver there. He's a guy you can
Absolutely.
count on in the red zone, and
Right.
he wins 50-50 balls, which is something that Lamar really just hasn't had in a receiver. We never had Joe Flacco, when he had his great playoff performance run in his Super Bowl
Oh
year, he
yeah.
had Anquan Bolden. And that was a guy that you could throw up a
Yeah.
50-50 ball, and Anquan
He
was going to
might be
win it
one of the most
pretty much
underrated
every time.
big time receivers ever.
Oh, for
Very
sure.
much appreciated.
Underappreciated. Yeah,
Well, he did
underappreciated
it the
for
Cardinals and Ravens. I mean,
absolutely.
just
Anquan,
fantastic at both in both spots.
yeah, yeah. Anquan, yeah. He was one of those signings when he came to Baltimore. I immediately was like, yes, absolutely. Yes, this is what we need.
Yeah.
And he was. But yeah, and then speaking of Baltimore, we have a new backup
Super Rush.
quarterback, Cooper Rush,
No, that's very
coming up
solid
from
backup. I
Dallas.
say. He's
I was about to say this is absolutely the best
you
backup
can hope
that
for. Yeah.
best backup that Lamar's ever had. Usually it's Snoop Huntley or
Yeah.
Josh Johnson on his
Yeah.
70th team. This is a backup that if Lamar, God forbid, knock on wood here, has to miss a couple games,
He's a
Cooper Rush can
confident
come in and
guy.
win
I
you
mean,
games. Yeah. I'm not upset at that. Like a
it's not
2 year,
bad at all.
$12 million contract or something. Again, that's hey,
Absolutely.
it's money worth spending. Your Cowboys, speaking of, they got two brand new running backs in Miles Sander and Javante Williams.
I'm, yeah, we basically went the cheap man's route and signed a bunch of names that people know, but it's a lot of first round guys that maybe consider busts. We got cheap that might turn out okay, but we definitely went the thrifty route.
It's like the fantasy streamer route right there. Those are the guys that you
Absolutely.
pick up off waivers and hope
Yeah.
that he's gonna have a big game this week, and maybe not. But yeah, that's your new
Oh,
backfield in
breaking
Dallas.
news. Jamar Chase and T.
Elsewhere,
Higgins signed 4 years
uh oh,
extensions with the Bengals, both of them. Wow.
Oh, there you go.
No.
Look at that. Breaking new news here. I'm taking on sports. That is
Bengals
great if
fan.
you're a
Because you're probably wondering where that was going.
Bengals fan right there. Yeah. Exactly. A little worried after they franchise T again. You're like, oh no. Uh,
Yeah.
that's dangerous though. But yeah, that's interesting. That's
Yeah.
good for them. Apparently another interesting. Just a note about the Bama game, real quick. Robert Morris, their best player, happens to be from Pinson Valley,
Interesting.
so he's got some
Interesting.
Alabama ties there. Elsewhere, let's see NFL names. Joey Bosa signed with the Bills. Seahawks have just completely redone their offense after trading away Geno and DK Metcalf for releasing Tyler Lockett. Sam Darnold is a new quarterback in Seattle. And
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's going home. Seattle native. He looks like he'll
He
finish
would
his
play
career
the
there
college,
up
what,
there.
Eastern Washington, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think. And so Sam Darnold there. You got Kenneth Walker is your running back. Cooper Kupp, and then Smith and Jigba is your 1 and 2 is right there in your receiver. So
A
it's
different
different. It's
offense for
certainly a
sure.
different
But
offense.
it's interesting.
Like
It's
completely.
interesting that
Like yeah.
the Vikings didn't want to give their rookie, I can't think of his name, the Michigan guy. JJ McCarthy, that they
J.J.
didn't want to
McCarthy.
give him a little blanket room with how good he Darnold was this year, but at the same time, the Seahawks, took that, gave him that opportunity, and the opportunity, like what they saw with him there. A little different though, because I mean, he had quite the talented bunch in Minnesota as far as those wide receivers. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Well, it's gonna be
absolutely.
a little
Yeah.
tougher there at Seattle for him, I would say, but well, very interesting to see what.
Yeah, he certainly got a great running back in Kenneth Walker. So it depends. I think one complaint that some Seahawks fans had toward the end of the season is they kind of stopped relying on Kenneth Walker so much. No, part of
Yeah,
that was they
they
were getting
had
down
to.
early in games. Their defense wasn't that
They
good,
had
so
to. Yeah.
yeah, they had to throw the ball. But like you said, just interesting. It's a
Oh,
completely new
absolutely.
offense in Seattle from
Yeah.
no more Ryan Grubb, new offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
new
Wait.
quarterback, new receivers. I don't know about their line situation, but it seems like Kenneth Walker is the only thing that's consistent there. And knowing they have a defensive-minded coach and Mike
Be
McDonald
interesting.
up there, he definitely will
Oh,
run the
absolutely.
ball, control the clock. Other notable signings this week: Justin Fields is the new Jets quarterback. All right, yeah, we'll see. Daniel Jones is now a Colts quarterback. I guess he will compete with Anthony Richardson for the starting job. I don't know. That's
Ah,
a
yeah.
interesting quarterback duo there. And then Jim Harbaugh has finally landed Najee Harris. He is now a Charger, and if you don't know the story of that, Jim Harbaugh heavily recruited Najee Harris out
Really
of high
good.
school, trying to get him to come to Michigan, to the point where they had, I believe, a verbal commitment from him. They had a student ID, they had all like his room picked out and all that kind of stuff, and then somehow
Yeah.
that information was leaked, and that caused Najee to decide to take a visit to Tuscaloosa with one Tua Tagovailoa, and the rest
So he
is
finally
history.
got his guy. A little later
Najee went
than.
on. Yeah, but Jim Harbaugh's finally got him. Yeah, a little later. Not the same guy, but
Still a thousand
hey,
yard bet.
as a as purely as a career move for Najee, I like
He'll
it for him.
start.
It's a friendlier offense than he's had in
Because for
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
whatever
fresh start.
reason,
He's just been
I don't know what
behind.
it was. Like everybody was like Najee sucks. He'd have these 1,000 yard years, but it just wasn't. I don't know. Something was missing between the. I don't know. Spin when.
It's there are some advanced stats and his like his yards per rush stuff like that, but I think the big thing is
That
that his
offensive
lines are
line
garbage in
for the
Pittsburgh,
amount
man.
of the
Like For
franchise that is known for offensive line play, the last 5 years or so has been trash.
No, it is. It's been really bad there. Like you stole
But
the point out of my
wait,
mouth right there. For a franchise that prides itself on the line of scrimmage, offensively and defensively, that's where they win
yeah,
football games. That's Steeler football. It has not been great the past, like you said, about 5 or so seasons, and Najee
no,
never really got the
never.
benefit of a strong offensive line there with or a strong passing
Because
game to
he didn't get the
stretch the defense.
C prime Roethlisberger. He got the
No, yeah, he did not get prime Roethlisberger throwing to prime
yeah,
Antonio Brown or something. Then you got Russell
yeah,
Wilson and Justin Fields this year.
yeah.
He had Kenny Pickett on.
Ah, no,
He hasn't had great
no,
weapons there to take the ease off the running game. So I'm excited to see him in a
right,
much more
for sure.
friendly offense to running backs. Uh, see who they pair him
Yeah,
with. See what they can do there. See, I think I already said Joey Bosa is now in the Bills. Those were kind of all the big names that stuck out to me this week that moved teams. Some notable names still out there on the market. Cam Robinson is
yep.
probably your best offensive lineman still available. Stephon Diggs still a free agent. Amari Cooper still a free agent. Santi Samuel Jr., Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers for your veteran quarterbacks right there, still looking for a team. J.K. Dobbins, who was with the Chargers this year,
He
had
did.
a little bit of a
Yeah,
bounce back year. It's a solid year, but he's so injury prone that I think that'll be some hesitation for teams signing him to a bigger deal. He might have to
right.
do another 1 or 2 year prove it contract type thing. And then Keenan Allen, speaking of former Chargers, a veteran receiver still on the market there. But so that's as you mentioned, we just got the Bengals took care of their
Yeah,
2 receivers there. Let's see, Juju Smith-Schuster's going back to the Chiefs. Kyle Juszczyk's going back to the
cut and sign,
Niners. The
resign
Falcons. Yeah, they cut him and then just re-signed him real quick.
all
He's been with
time.
the program or the team 8 years, I believe now. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was a Raven before that. I remember when we let him go. There's a lot of teams
yeah.
or not people not happy about it, but then we got Patrick Ricard, so who also actually re-signed with the Ravens recently. So the Falcons kept Kirk Cousins, so
He'll
they
get
did
his
not cut
10
him
million.
before the deadline to trigger one of his. Yeah, he'll get his $10 million bonus. It's not say they still couldn't trade him around draft time and all, but they might. You would understand on face value if they wanted to keep him around as a
All
veteran backup for
right.
Michael Penix, but that
All right.
contract
They
is,
they
yeah, that's
yeah, they
still
really
interested to see.
messed that up. I mean, we talked about it a lot. I mean, you either go the young route and get Penix and let him play the some point last year, and of course at the beginning of the year, but you don't do that after giving that guy $100 million contract. So, I mean, so
No, yeah.
still don't know what to do there, but
I I'm still waiting to get the news alert that he has been traded to Pittsburgh. I don't know why I have that feeling, but that
yeah,
feels like
I,
a trade they're going to make. They already did the one for DK Metcalf, so maybe they don't have the capital or the salary.
definitely.
But that salary is such a hindrance that he might not get
Yeah,
traded
because it
anywhere.
sounds like I mean they were kind of in that Aaron Rodgers thing, but it sounds like Aaron Rodgers might go to Minnesota.
Yeah, there's a lot more talk that Rodgers could end up
Oh,
in
no, Brett
Minnesota. There
Favre,
as another.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I guess one more veteran year. Yeah, for real, right? That's the exact route he took, wasn't it? Green Bay to New York to
Yeah, I think it's
Minnesota. Was it
Minnesota.
Minnesota after New York?
It's very
Yeah, well,
similar. But man, if there's a place that Aaron Rodgers at his age and decline a little bit with, where he could still shine, would be Minnesota with that plethora of offensive.
yeah. So I'm about to say there's as much. I'm not biggest fan of Aaron Rodgers, the crazy conspiracy guy, but as the quarterback, him throwing bombs to
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson,
right.
it's got some potential right there. Now that's of
That
course
take
whether
or not.
Minnesota wants to go. J.J. McCarthy coming off that injury, so they might want to
Right.
ease him back into it. But that is a very quarterback friendly offense considering all the
Absolutely.
weapons around it, and the
Hmm.
defense they have there. But yeah, let's see. As everything I have in my notes right now, is there anything else? Oh wait, one more thing. Ovechkin is now 7 away from tying Wayne Gretzky. 7 more goals to tie the
That's
all-time
wild. Yeah.
goal king. There, yeah, he has had a little bit of a week and a half there without a goal, but got one
Nice.
just I think last night, maybe 2 nights ago. Yeah. So anything else in the world of sports you want to
Um,
touch on that we missed?
trying to think. No, not. I think we covered most everything. It's been for me. It's been very college basketball centric. I have honestly kind of tuned out a lot of other
Yeah.
stuff. I know my Mavs got down to where we almost got suspended from being able to play with a 7-man roster. Um, got down to
Ooh.
7 guys, but somehow played today and lost again to the 76ers. But able to find a roster there. So, but I think we're definitely doing everything we can to get into that lottery aspect from the way we've been losing games recently. So,
Yeah. I guess the only other real kind of news out of baseball, your
no,
Yanks,
yeah,
Garrett Cole will
yeah.
be out for the year. So he's
Tommy
going to have
Johns,
Tommy
yeah,
John
I saw
surgery.
that on the man. That's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough
Yeah,
break, yeah, for your Yanks there. But yeah, other than that, yeah, like you said, it's basketball season.
yeah,
That's where the focus is. As far as the NBA goes, nothing huge this week. The Cavs had their 16-game win
yeah.
streak ended by the Magic. Jalen Brunson's going to be out for
All
another
right.
1 to 2 weeks, it looks like. Other than that,
The
yeah.
Thunder, the Thunder are
That's it.
housing
We're
the
watching.
Bucks right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that was another. Yeah, it was like we mentioned with that Florida game, and it was kind of a one couple possession game earlier, and we were talking, and I looked back up the screen, and all of a
yeah,
sudden, yeah, the Thunder are up 20. So that is that kind of team they are. Is again, SGA just gets closer and closer to an MVP award.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Honestly,
all
I just
right.
want to see a OKC Cleveland finals. I know
Yeah,
it
yeah,
wouldn't be sexy. It wouldn't be sexy maybe for the ratings and the two smaller program cities, but man, for the just for the pure basketball, that'd be fantastic fun.
yeah. That would absolutely. Yeah, the two best teams. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's it. So done up real good this week. I'm just going to go ahead and take it for both of us. What's done up real good this week is the bracket challenge is back.
Yeah.
Check out our social medias, all of them. I posted links to our group. Join up. Play for your chance to win. See if you can beat us. See if you can beat everybody else, and win you some Alabama taking on sports merch.
Boom.
And you tell me what you want. I get it for you. I send it your way. Hopefully, I do a lot better than I did last year.
Last year was tough.
It
I know
it was
my
rough. I couldn't remember,
I
and
had a
I
rough.
was going in there today to reactivate the group.
Yeah.
It was like, oh wait, how did I do last year? And toward the bottom of the group, not good,
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
That's how I
I
did.
was very ugly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do mention I had Arizona as
Yeah.
my as my pick last year. It did not work out well.
I
I had
definitely had Arizona winning that region and being Carolina to go out that west. But
yeah. I think the only
UConn was the only thing I got right last year.
I was about to say I was looking at my Final Four picks. Yeah, UConn was the only one I had right. I don't even know how many. Let's see, my Final Four I had last year. I had Arizona, Connecticut, Houston, and Tennessee. We did not
At
get
least I
just
mean,
one of those
tennis.
teams.
I mean, Houston. I mean, after their what's the name got hurt, that really killed them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Tennessee made it to the Elite Eight and lost to Purdue. So I mean, it came
yeah,
close. Came close there. So not terrible.
yeah. And then Arizona, they were upset by Clemson, who Alabama eventually beat to get the Final Four. So I wasn't mad
Right.
about that one.
No.
But yeah, I was looking at the group. I finished 15th out of how many people did we have last year? We had 15th out of 23, so not good. Let's see if I can find Greg here. You were, I think you actually finished third in the group.
Yeah. I didn't think
Yeah,
I did. I think you kind of carried me for.
yeah. You had UConn as your champ, so that win
Yeah.
definitely gave you a bunch of points there
Yeah.
to catapult. Because if they hadn't win, yeah, you probably would have been down there closer to me. But yeah. So join up this year. Like I said, folks, it is on our socials. I posted a link: Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And we'll repost them out throughout the week on the Alabama Take things as well. Looks like we already got Blaine and Mallory have already joined up. So there you go. And we'll do that as always. Thanks for listening, folks. Subscribe, rate us, like us, do all those things. Tell your friends, tell your rich friends about us. Tell any business owners that want to sponsor us. Or if you're a business owner yourself, hey, just throw a little bit. We're not asking for you to fund the whole show. Just to start it that way.
Couple dollars.
Just a couple of dollars, a little bit of change.
Get a little Wendy's 4 action. No.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, man. Wendy's. Do you remember when we used to get those coupons from my dad and we'd all roll up to that Wendy's drive-thru and each had those? It was like the buy one, get one coupons off the dollar menu.
We go at like 1 in the
And
morning.
we'd all roll up in our boy
You know
Steve's
they're
car.
pissed. Why are they?
They hated us. They hated us. We get there,
Yeah.
lean out. It was always in our boy Steve's car. He'd lean out. We got 4, maybe 5 separate orders. Okay. And we'd all say that. And then it was the old school registers. It wasn't the computers yet.
Yeah.
And the manager, that guy that looked like Ron Jeremy,
Figure out how to.
had to come,
Yeah.
put his key in there and punch his little codes in there. Yeah. And he'd just stay there for
Yeah.
the whole time. It got to the point where they knew us.
Funny stuff.
But those are the days.
But probably
Yeah.
the reason why restaurants started going
yeah.
one
Well,
order
yeah,
at the drive-through. We're probably the reason why that kind of started.
Yeah.
People
No
like
separate
us.
orders, please. All right. Oh man, but yeah. Where were we? So yeah, throw a little Skrilla our way. There you go. Check out the AlabamaTake.com. You can find all of the podcasts in the Alabama Take family of podcasts there. Again, if you are interested in starting a podcast, we're always looking for new guys. Just email the AlabamaTake@gmail.com. Blaine will get you set up there. Yeah, hear your idea out. I think specifically, if you want to talk about movies or politics, I think those are 2 big ones that he kind of
Plenty to talk
would love
about.
to see more. Maybe a strong music podcast. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, Lord, plenty. It's funny, me and him actually were talking a few weeks ago about that and wanting to do it, and I was like, man, I just don't. I'd love to do one. I just don't have the time to put the research in that you'd need to do that for a good podcast, or else it'd just be 30 minutes of me just cussing for every week.
Yeah. I mean, it's a headache right now.
Yeah.
So it's like every day is something.
Exactly. Yeah, it's something. There you go. But as you can check out the AlabamaTake.com for all those, and then you can check out some writings. So there was some good writings this week. A good review of a Lee Baines concert. Some stuff on literature this week, of course. And Blaine is reviewing this season of the Challenge Rivals. And see, I thought there was something else interesting recently here. I think some gardening. That's right, Samantha Simmons.
Gardening, spring stuff. Yeah,
a little gardening talk. So yeah, check that out. AlabamaTake.com. Follow the Alabama Take on all the socials as well. Follow us, Taking on Sports, on all the socials. Thank you again for listening, folks. Keep it done up real good yourselves out there. Remember, Alabama, Friday, 11:40 Central Time against Robert Morris.
Let's go.
Don't forget to join that bracket challenge. Take it on sports. Like I said, the link to join up is on all our socials, or if you just go to ESPN and search Taken on Sports, it's just the title of the show. That is the group name. You can join it, no password or anything needed. Remember, you got to get that done before the games tip off Thursday. Don't have to worry about the playing games, but you do have to worry about the tip off Thursday. Yeah.
By 11. Want to make sure you're there by 11 because
Yeah.
they will lock you
I'm
out.
about to say I know some people that wait for those playing games that I'm like, I don't want to forget. So I kind of maybe play it. But as always, keep it done up real good yourselves out there. Greg, I'll see you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir.